What do you think you're doing in that important 60 minutes?
Yeah.
When you've done the tour and you've kind of then they're saying, okay, now I'm going to suss this guy out and work out whether he can extract. What do you do or say generally that you think gives them confidence that you're there?
I think it's a few things. I mean, one of them is energy. I think people can sense, how much I love this game just from meeting me, and that's something you can't fake. Like good energy, it's infectious. People you can't really fake it. You have to love it to be the best at it. I just feel like they know I'm going to go the extra mile, and I think part of them is questioning, how in such a short period of time have I broken into the market with all these guys who've been in it 20, 30 years. The only explanation is I must do a better job, and you do your research, and the track record reaffirms that.
So part of what I'm hearing there is it's not just what you say, it's how you say it and how you turn up. If you're there and focused and energetic, already they're getting a good impression from you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Can I ask you don't have to go into specific detail, but I get asked all the time, John, and that is with the team unit, the way to remunerate to get best performance. Is it all right if we touch on it a little bit?
Yeah, 100%. So Oliver Lavis, I didn't get on to finishing, is the third member of the team. He's a junior sales agent. Unbelievably skilled, extremely well remunerated for what he's there to do. And I've found that paying the staff, overpaying the staff, or that may daunt a lot of agents, is the best way to maintain them. I mean, touch wood, none of my guys have left me since the beginning.
Right.
And my EA's been with me 3 years, Jerome 6, 7 years, Oliver 2 years, which is kind of unusual for a real estate business. We've got big turnover.
So you remunerate well.
Extremely. You have to be, because at the end of the day, they need to stay motivated. And I've got the view of there's no such thing as self-made. And that doesn't exist. And anyone who's self-made has had help or has help from a great team. And I know I couldn't do it without them. So it's important that they're happy. I delve into their personal life. I like to know they're happy in their personal life. I like to know that they're, I genuinely want to see them on this sort of trajectory.
So everyone's clear on what they're doing. How often is there a team meeting? What's discussed? How often? Weekly?
Yeah, weekly we catch up. Everyone knows what they need to do, and we flow. We flow really well.
So you sit down once a week. What day?
Monday.
And for how long?
Half an hour, very quick.
And you just go through all your listings, all your pipelines that you're
Who
chasing?
needs to do what for the week ahead?
Right.
And what we want to achieve. We track, accountability is a huge thing. And so we track exactly where we're at all times. Because for me, and we've had this discussion before, I've got this obsession with progression. It's like a discontent with, if I had a year now that was worse than last year, I don't know what I'd do to myself. And the team knows it as well. So thankfully the last 5 years has been just growth. And it's important we continue that. So able to do that, accountability is everything. You said it yourself, it's like someone training at the gym, they're always writing down what they're doing so they can grow.
You manage.
100%. So, we implement that massively in the business. And you talk about these numbers, the 3 and everything and all that. That doesn't excite me. The future excites me. I'm just scratching the surface. So, what excites me is we're doing that now. What are we going to be doing in 10 years' time?
John, I'm going to pass you on to ask the next question and then give Gavin a moment to think about one of the final questions that I want to ask today, and that is that if there are young guys, girls, they don't have to be young, they've just got to be people that want to go to the next level. I want you to start thinking about what are the Gav Rubinstein's top 5 tips for everyone out there to help them have, their best year ever.
Get on your real estate gym 2.0. That's number
mate,
1.
Nice. I like this guy.
He's still got
He just slipped me a 20.
You're only at 2.8.
2.0. Gav, we'll send you more than. I'll get you a News Corp baseball cap.
I want that. Trucker cap.
I got a question, which is kind of, I think, similar to where you were going, Tommy. You are amongst some great agents, but you also would observe people that kind of make the traditional agent mistakes. What do you think agents do wrong from your observation?
That question frustrates me because there is so much.
A couple of things. First few things come to mind.
Not good enough product knowledge.
Yeah. Which is really complacency because there's no excuse, right?
Right.
Yep.
Don't manage their time properly. Spend time on the wrong things. Everything we've spoken about. Some of them unfit, unhealthy.
Yeah.
That to people, some people may think that's not relevant.
Yeah.
For me, when I'm in a listing presentation, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm more than ready.
He's just described you and I in other words.
You're sharing your pressure.
Sure, you're okay.
Taking myself off. You know, just sometimes agents don't even know what's on the market in their particular core focus area. It's just if you want to be paid like a specialist, you need to act like
Yeah, you're hungry. You're ambitious.
Yeah.
Were you born that way, or did you become
You
that
asked me
way?
this in our first interview. Honest answer is I don't really remember. Look, I grew up in a very, very humble environment where there wasn't a lot of money. I saw my parents argue a lot.
You grew up in Sydney?
Yeah, I grew up in Sydney. And so they had no lifestyle. In fact, they had a pretty shit lifestyle. The best people in the world, they had a horrible lifestyle. And so I guess, you know, going to a private school and seeing or being exposed to a particular type of lifestyle created a hunger and a drive that just really made me want to get it for myself.
Again, and Tom, I heard a great quote the other day, which you just remind me of then, and I think it was the late Wayne Dyer, and he said, because it's funny how if we pre-frame things right, they're a positive. He said, I had just the right amount of dysfunctionality to make me the person I am today.
That's awesome.
And because I heard him tell a story like he'd been in 30 foster homes, he said, thank God, because then I had to become independent early, whereas most people would say, what hope did I have? I had 30 foster homes before I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And he said, I had just the right amount of dysfunctionality, thankfully, in my family and my growing up to allow me to be the independent person I became. So I really love that. And I think, I think for most people, there's something in our past that wasn't quite right, and some more than others. But some people use it as a chip on their shoulder and a reason that, that's why I've never been successful. No one ever loved me, cared for me. Other people say, hey, I had to kind of spend myself pretty early.
John, that reminds me, Anthony Robbins tells a beautiful story about two brothers. One ends up becoming super successful, and one ended up going into jail, having a lot of problems.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
And he and maybe you both have heard it, but one of the successful brother, when he gets interviewed, how did your life end up being so successful? He goes, well, what can you do when you've had a father like that? You've got no choice.
Yes.
And then they asked the brother, how did your life end up being that way? He goes, well, what can you do? When you have a dad like that, it was inevitable it was going to go.
One use it as an example, and what to be, and the other use it what not to be.
Yeah.
One last thing for me.
And my brother, funny enough, is exactly the same in a different field. I mean, you've never seen my brother Jared, right? He's got the world record for most amount of muscle ups ever done. You think
what's a muscle up?
Okay, let's say you've got a chin up bar.
Yeah.
Okay, so front way open hand, chin up. John, so pretend you've got like a bar and it's up on the roof. You know chin ups, you pull up on the bar, right?
It's the hardest thing to do in the gym.
Correct. So this is the chin up bar. You pull up, you push up, and then you swing down, and that's one. So he's got the world recognized by the Guinness Book World Records. It's all over the web. He competes in this barbarian thing all over the world. He's got the world record for most amount of
how many?
23 or something.
23 of those.
To my height, he's a short guy. You've never seen anyone more ripped in your entire life. This guy travels. He's a commodity trader. He's an absolute weapon. And it doesn't matter where he is. And you see he's in a different country every week almost.
So why does he travel so much?
For work.
All right.
It's all work related. So and there's no market for what he does here. So he's over there. He's got a portable chin-up bar. And he's got these ropes that he flicks up. Doesn't matter where he is in the world. And he just does it. He hasn't lifted a weight in 10 years. If you saw a picture of this guy, you'd freak.
I have seen on Instagram. So let's be very clear.
Is he on your Instagram site?
There's a photo.
You've never met a more disciplined human being in your entire life.
John, to be honest with you, I'd invite him in here as well. But the problem is, if we're going down this bar's not looking good. So he's the same age as you.
He's older than he's 33.
Okay.
But same sort of. He's just a machine.
So another question, maybe the last. I don't know how much. You're 3 million, one of the best in the world. You want to get to 5 or 6, I assume.
I want to get to 10.
So you want to get to 10. So what can you see as some of the shifts or changes you're going to have to make to get to 10 from 3?
It's a phenomenal question because I ask myself that all the time. I think that you can always work harder and focus, more. I think it doesn't matter how hard you're working, you can always do that. I think it's just expansion of the team, and I think time plays a huge part in longevity in all real estate businesses. We were having a conversation outside. You have a look at all the top performers over time. They've all stylistically been different. They've all looked different. They've all had a different approach, but there seems to be one sort of common denominator, and that's longevity. I think that plays a huge piece, and it makes sense because, let's say in a year you do however many deals, 200 deals. Those deals, if you do a good job, become more deals, and it multiplies over time, which I think is a huge factor towards it. So I think the only thing standing between myself and that number is, one thing is time, and the other thing is just staying on the path and being focused and constantly, reinventing.
And I was saying to Gavin outside, Tom, and I know he does a lot of waterfronts and top end, but I think Gavin's next venture or next kind of goal will be getting into that $50, $60, $70 million stuff.
Yeah,
because
let's hope so.
There's no one better. I mean, I'd love to see people like Ben Colley who are right up there as well. But you and Ben, and I said that, Mike Pallier, some of the best guys on planet Earth in terms of that top end. And I think you guys will be the trophy hunters of the future, selling the Packers, the Murdochs, these sort of properties, and that will certainly, because we're talking about in some instances $1 million fees for one sale.
Yeah.
And that'll be a part of your success story. Well, this has been my favourite interview.
Yeah.
How many?
137.
Admittedly, most of the time I'm interviewing.
I rocked up 136 times.
Yeah.
He's never said one nice thing.
No way. I agree.
But what about this? I don't know. Veronica just say, thank God for Photoshop. Because
Mate, you are looking too handsome in that.
What is
photo,
happening there?
What a power shot.
Panos, playing the long game. Playing the long game.
Yeah.
Now, Gav, you played the long game.
I'm playing the long game.
And you're playing the long game. And we talked about it last time, you're going to, hustle beats talent when talent won't hustle.
100%.
But you seem to have both.
I'm not talented.
You don't think so?
I'm not talented.
Yeah, you're enough talented, but you're key.
You know what? John and I spoke about it outside just again. You don't have to be talented, and you don't have to be a genius to break the code of the real estate business. You don't. You've got to be prepared. So preparation is everything. If you're prepared, it eliminates all that doubt, and you do that by putting in the work. And if you put in the work, particularly, you always got to be a hard worker. Right? But it changes if you build that foundation base exactly like you said, because you become that attraction agent. That doesn't make it easy. I need to be very clear about that. Because remember, you're still competing 3-4 people. You never get business uncontested, particularly in the East. I mean, it's happened to me once, maybe in eight years of service.
Even if it's a past client that's a raving fan, they're always going to call up.
Always, it's going to be competitive. So,
quick question. Ivan Bresic, good friend of yours.
Yeah.
One of the great agents in Australia. What are your observation of Ivan and his success? What do you put that down to?
I think, first off, the importance of time and managing it, I learned that from him. Like, and like I said, there are a lot of people who have touched my business. Michael Finger, who I work with, is another one who have helped me throughout it, because these guys are experienced. Watching your guys' podcasts, there's some gold in that. I've taken some dialogue, some words that you've said on interview that I never understood, that I went to put in dictionary. I started using them, and people would perceive me to be smarter than I really am just from some of your words. So thank you. Your stuff, it's gold. I've spoken about it before. You've got to be a good learner so you can take what these people say and implement them. Ivan, extremely disciplined, unbelievable at managing time, and together with him and Shannon, who is without question a pioneer of the industry of the game, identified a gap in the market, and they filled it bloody well. Still hungry, still motivated at 37, 38 years old. He's still on the grind.
Yeah.
We catch up for dinner. We're just talking about like making phone calls, and it's pretty sad, but. There's no secret to it. You spend a day or an hour with him, you can identify.
Awesome energy. And but I agree with Shannon. Shannon's a great guru and a friend of mine, and I'm very proud.
Because they both came from you.
Yeah,
and they both pay huge respects all the time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You're a factory there at McGrath, John.
Well, that's Alex Phillips was great. Gavin Rubinstein, Pauline Goodyear. We've had some phenomenal, but they're just a few to mention a few. But look, you don't love people when they leave, or you don't love it when. Who's ringing us?
Oh, that's probably Rupert Murdoch. I'll just get that. Sorry, the News Corp phone number is going there.
Probably
we might end this. This is our longest interview. By the way, this is Officially the longest interview, so you can tell your brother he might have the biggest chin-ups, but we have got the longest podcast.
And by the way, that's a good magazine, right?
Yes, it's a great elite agent who, John, were a part of ARIC, and they've told me they're going to be part of ARIC again, doing their Sam McLean and the team there.
I'm going to summarise what I got out of today, because I've taken 2 pages of notes. I reckon, Gavin, here's my feedback for you.
I'm going to get you on Snapchat what you say.
Yeah,
you always got to be social media in this.
That's good.
Authenticity.
I reckon the things that you've said today that really hit home to me and my observation. Level 10, non-negotiable. You're hungry, you hustle. Energy is key. My observation is presentation is outstanding. I mean, you look like $1 million.
Thank you.
Product knowledge is key. You have a formula. You talked about the importance of a formula. Yeah. I love that you have a formula. And most people don't. They kind of wing it and come along and they put this process for this one or no process for that one. I love you've got a formula. I love the fact that you're generous with your team, because I think a lot of people are not generous with their team.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's just what I got. I mean, I got 2 pages of great notes, so thank you. And I got 2 pages of great notes from your ARIC speech last year, because like you, I love learning and I take notes and I go and copy them and keep them. So, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolute honour to see you.
Great to have you.
Thank you, realestate.com.au, our sponsor, John. We'll see you at our next podcast. Troy, thank you so much. Gavin,
thank you
so much, brother.
There.
All righty.
Thanks, Gavin.
See you next time. Thank you.
See you guys.